my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Scrappy Shorts, where everything has potential. I'm Shawn with Manly Made Minute. So today's episode is about our designer series paper scraps and what do we do with them. Lately, I've been doing a lot of paper, designer series paper cards, and then you always end up with, a quarter of that 6x6 or a portion of that 6x6 left, and I just stuff them in the card with the rest of the paper until something comes up. So today we're going to use up some of those scraps and show you my thought process behind this particular layout. And it goes back to some of my recent videos talking about these small elements that I really have a hard time trying to figure out what to do with some of these stamp sets that come with these small elements. So we're going to take a look at a layout that I found on Pinterest, and I'll put that link and everything about it down in the comments below, because this is not my design. I just found a template that I just started Googling templates on Pinterest, and I found one that would work with the scraps that I have. So I already kind of had in mind the scraps I was going to use. So before we go and take a look at everything, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Would love to have you follow me here on YouTube, as well as you can find me on Instagram at Manly Made Minute and see all of my cards and other posts there as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have for you today. All right. I've been using a lot of Brutus Monroe paper lately, and so this is the Coral Reefs paper. This is from the Mermaid Friends paper. I was going to use this until I realized I had kind of all the same scraps, and I wanted to mix this up a little bit. And I have a lot of these sun ones, but it just didn't go with the stamp set that I wanted to use. But I wanted to show you, these are the types of scraps that I have left that I'm going with. All right? I'm going to use the Coral Reef paper. And the scraps that I have left of that fit perfectly for what I want. So you can kind of see certain things. I've got similar kind of chunks left, right? I'm going to cut these up into 1 5/8 by 3 1/8 strips. I need 3 of them. Then what I was talking about were stamp sets like these, where we get all these smaller elements, and then I always struggle with, how do I lay this out on a card? How do I make a scene out of this? And I see so many people use one element and it turns out great. So that was my focus today, was trying to use this stamp set that I just recently got, have not used it, but all these small elements. So I was searching on Pinterest for something that I could use these small elements with, as well as knowing what paper I wanted to use and the scraps that I have. All right? So I'm going to dig in my scrap bucket. Obviously, this is a Scrappy Short. I already have in mind which background I want to use because I've already dug through this. This was my first thought because I knew I had this one in here until I realized I had this tag that I had made for another video, and I wasn't totally happy with how it turned out for the particular tag I was trying to make, because the texture of the stencil and the paste I got just lost in translation, and it wasn't the pop I was looking for. So I threw it in my scrap bucket until I could use it. This is perfect for today's card. All right. So we're going to cut this. We're going to use a A2 size card. I'm going to cut this as my panel to 4 by 5 1/4. So we're just taking a quarter of an inch off of that. All right. So I need this to be 5 1/4. This way, and it's super chunky, so hopefully I can get this to cut through. If not, we'll get something started here and then try to cut through that. This texture paste that's on here is super tough. Oh, there we go. All right, then I need this 4 inches, and I'm pretty much at 4. I might be able to get a sliver off of that. Let's just see. Yeah, nope, it's already pretty much at 4, so I'm going to leave it there. All right? This is going to be my panel that we're going to put on my card. And we're going to just have that little border left, okay? So I'm going to get this on and get this drying, because I wanted to do the full card for you today and actually put this on a card so you can see this overall design, okay? All right, we've got a little bit of a clog here. So this is essentially just 3 strips of paper, and then I am just using 3 little pieces of this stamp set as my focal point on each of these little strips. So we're going to get this laid down and drying. and flatten that out as we do this. And then I'll cut these down to size. So again, I need strips of 1 5/8 by 3 1/8. And I already got 2 perfect strips here, and I know I could probably cut this nice piece off of this and use this side over here. All right, so we're gonna go 1 5/8 this direction, and then 3 1/8. So I want to use the most of the bottom of this. So I'm gonna go 3 1/8 here, and then we'll do the same. So I need 3 1/8 of this one, and 1 5/8 this way. And I think I'm going to cut that portion off because I want to keep this nice detail here. Let's see, 1 2 3 4 5/8 this direction. That's number 2. And then again, we're going to go 3 1/8 this direction. And I'm going to cut this little side off of this, and this is 1 5/8 this direction. Okay, these are my 3 pieces of paper with my focal points. My focal points, I have taken and stamped what I wanted, die cut out with just a simple circle die, and fussy cut out my dolphin. I have colored these with alcohol markers. Then I just took my finger and smeared over it some glitter glaze, just to give this some shimmer and some sparkles if it's in the water. I used my fallen snow on the dolphin, so I just got a little glimmer on him. And then I used the hyacinth glitter glaze on these guys to give it that blue kind of feel. And same thing on my sentiment. I have a scrap here. I just wanted to show you what I did. Literally just took a little bit on my finger, and I just smeared it lightly because I don't want it to pick up and smear my alcohol ink. And then I just let it dry. That's it. Easy as that. Okay. Let's get this on my card, and then we'll just throw those focal points on there. Because of this texture on here, I know this is going to be super hard to glue. So I'm actually going to use some dimensionals and then heavily saturate these with glue to get it to stick. Okay, so I wanted that one, and I'm gonna go this lighter one in the middle, just like so. Okay. So I will use glue to get these to stay down the best I can on all of that texture. You know what? It'll probably be easier just to do a big strip. Like so. Flip that. Yeah. And a piece there. Just like so. All right. Keep them in my order. And I'm going to lay my edges out first and then center between. Okay? It's just the easiest way that I can usually do these to get these spaced out the best. And if I pre-lay these down, it'll kind of tell me about how much space, just to make sure on the edges here. Like so, and then like so. So I've got to go pretty tight up against the edge to get that in the middle centered nice. I encourage you, if you've got scraps like this, kind of look at your scraps ahead of time so you kind of know the pieces and the sizes and you get an idea of what you got. This is what I did, and then I just went through Pinterest and started looking at I just pretty much put in the search button card templates, and I just started looking at all the templates that pop up to find one that I knew would work with the scraps I had. And if you've got all kinds of shapes and sizes and it doesn't matter, and then just start looking at card templates and get some inspiration, because these are just great for card layouts. They're easy to use up for scraps, and you get some great cards out of it, out of stuff that you know, hopefully you're not throwing these scraps away, because again, I'm getting one full card out of this, and I could probably make 3 or 4 of these cards with this paper that's sitting right here. Oh yeah, that's perfectly in between, like so. All right, I'm gonna put my dolphin here first, and then these I can just, what if I can center those? If I turn him a little bit, I can get those centered. And I'm going to pop these up on dimensionals as well, just to give this whole card some pop. Like so. And then this guy. Just try to get squeeze 2 in there. There we go. All right. And then we'll pop our sentiment in there. Now, if you're using one that doesn't have so much texture on it, there is enough space down here to, and this has got too much texture for me to stamp, but you could just stamp your sentiment right down below on here. Like that. And then I'll just bookend it with these 2 shapes so it balances it out. And I'm going to probably try to get my sentiment in the edge of that. And see how that fits. What a great way to use up these scraps, right? And I'm still getting to play with some glitter and other things, and I think this will fit perfectly right there. So I'm going to put along the bottom edge, I'm going to put 2 dimensionals right along the bottom, because I'm going to glue it on the top side and then let it hang over the edge. That way this stays all at that same level as you put that down. So glue up in here. And it fits great, just like that. And there you have it. How fast and how easy is that? My coloring took me no time at all. All scraps, and I'll be honest, these were made from scraps of white paper. They were just the right size that I could die cut them out. And you've got yourself a great little card. This could be for somebody's birthday or just an encouragement card because they did something great lately and they accomplished something, because they are fantastic. So there you have it. Thank you so very much for hanging with me today. Appreciate you all. I'll give you front view here. This camera focus is so nice from that front side. And that just looks fantastic. So I thank you all for being here.